Hello and welcome to the Corner Flag. We are back after a long time. We've been away for a while, and that is entirely this fucker's fault.
That's true, actually.
Because he fucked off to the Andamans for 3 months where he had no network, and I think that's because he's an Everton fan and he could not deal with the way the team was playing.
That's also true. I needed to get away. I always said Sam Allardyce was a mistake. We shouldn't have gotten Sam Allardyce, and the club still got him, and they didn't listen to what I had to say. And I had to leave. I had to get away from all the football news, and I did, and it was great. And now I'm back.
It was good catharsis for him. But the season's done. Whatever happened, happened. And we have the World Cup 2018 to look forward to now. This is the World Cup special episode. And I thought for this episode, we needed to get somebody on this show that Akarsh could have something in common with. And by that, I mean we needed to get a guest on the show who supported a team that's quite shit. So this is who we got.
Who's this for, by the way?
It's a corner flag.
Corner flag. Okay. Who are these guys?
We're right here.
Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Hello.
Akarsh.
Hi.
That's-
Amogh. Hi.
I'm Joseph.
Hi. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Hi.
We know. We know
okay.
you.
We got in touch. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should just
What-
start off
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
the football. The World Cup football.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Is there a World Cup?
It's scheduled.
This year?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It's scheduled.
Have we got our dates wrong?
Are you sure it's not next year?
No. I
Oh.
don't think so. I think we should just start off with the questions.
Let's-
You start off with the questions.
You can go for it.
I don't have the questions. You have the questions. I told you to get the questions.
I gave you the list.
I told you to print out the questions and get the questions. Sorry, we'll just take those. I told you to get the questions.
You do this often.
Okay.
Do you have any questions that we
Time.
can ask you?
All right. Let's just wing it. All right, let's
Okay,
just
yeah.
we'll wing it. How hard can it be? How hard can questioning?
That's what I do. Wing it.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. Of course, we're talking
Pleasure's all
about
mine.
we're talking about World Cup 2018, and I'm going to start off by asking you the question that is on everybody's minds. Everybody's been asking. We've got messages asking this question, and we need
You got
to
me
know-
worried now.
Yeah, we need to know your thoughts and opinions on this very important question. Saudi Arabia, are they going to win it?
Oh, that's a relief. I thought you were going to talk about Trump and Kim. Saudi Arabia. Inshallah, as they say
Right.
in the Middle East,
Right,
which
right,
means God's will, Saudi Arabia will win it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, joking aside, no, of course they're not, but joking, just to be clear, no, I've got to say that. I've got to say that because sometimes I put things on social media
Right.
whereby, and people, it's clearly a joke,
Yeah.
clearly a joke.
Yeah.
And people will go like, Joe Morrison really thinks that Saudi Arabia are going to win the World Cup. Now that's one side of it. The other side of it, there'll be one or two morons running around out there who actually will go and put a bet on Saudi Arabia
Wow.
winning the World Cup because Joe Morrison said Saudi
Wow.
Arabia was going to win the World Cup. So I have to make clear, right? Saudi Arabia will not be winning the World Cup this year.
So I shouldn't be putting money on them.
Don't put.
Don't put. Well, you were gonna?
I mean, yeah, when... No, not anymore.
See, it shows that you're an Everton fan. You just don't know which team to.
Yeah, Evertonians.
But so we've got a few informers of ours in Russia.
Yeah.
Moles.
Informers or informants?
Informants, moles, basically, who've given us some inside information that we'd like to hear your opinion on.
Yeah.
We've been told that Jerome Boateng's going to miss the opening game because of a wisdom tooth extraction.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
didn't
what
know
we've
that.
Yeah,
heard.
we've got credible sources.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it was a scheduling conflict with the dentist? Do you think Mr. Boateng's manager didn't do a really good job? And do you think it's
Maybe the
wise-
dentist didn't do a good job by the sound of it.
Maybe. And do you think it's wise to have a wisdom tooth extracted just before the World Cup?
I think they would probably let him go for the first game because it's a group game, it's not a knockout game, and it depends on how close it was done to that first game. Has it actually been done?
No,
The
it's
procedure?
supposed to be done on the day of the first game, which is odd.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
why?
our
Yeah,
sources
It's
said.
very
That's
odd.
right.
It's almost like they don't want him to pass that late fit.
I'm sorry, Mr. Boateng. Let me have a look. Yes, we've got next Tuesday, if that's fine by you.
Yeah.
But we can't fit you in any earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think they would do something and
Going on to the next question. Apart from Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Uruguay, Portugal, Spain, Morocco, Iran,
Is that not-
France, Australia, Peru, Denmark, Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria, Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Serbia, Germany, Mexico, Sweden, South Korea, Belgium, Tunisia. Which team do you think will win? England, Poland, Senegal, Colombia, Japan. Which team do you think will win?
England.
Apart from them.
these.
Apart from these 31 countries.
Did you not hear
That
that?
I
Do you
just-
want to repeat the question?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can you repeat the question, please? Apart from this, you know what? Every time a tournament comes around, look, there's one thing to make clear, and this is a bit of serious football chat first
Right,
before we
right,
get back
right,
onto the
right,
fun
right,
stuff, because
right.
I'm enjoying the
Yeah,
fun stuff.
yeah.
Tournaments are so different to domestic football,
Yeah.
and I'm still amazed how many people put the two together and they view the two together and they comment on the two together and they're opinionated on the two as if they're the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a knockout tournament.
Yeah.
So many other elements come in.
True.
And what greater example than Iceland? There's one thing called momentum, team spirit. Holland are the greatest example of having no team spirit.
Yeah.
There's some of their parts.
Yeah.
Belgium in the Euros, there's some of their parts, no team spirit.
Yeah.
So apart from all of those, you know, we joke about Saudi Arabia. On the right day, with the right momentum and the right team spirit and the gods going with you,
All the stars aligned.
all the stars aligning, things can just
Things can
happen.
That's-
and you
that's-
just don't know. Why do the Costa Ricas go so far? Why do the Icelands go so far in these competitions when clearly on paper they're not, you know, good enough to go as far as they do?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
does that answer the question?
It was Panama actually.
Panama.
It was Panama.
Oh, it was Panama.
Yeah, it was the team
Apart
that.
from those 31 teams, I think Panama has the best chance.
Yeah, if those 31 teams get knocked out, I think Panama can definitely win the World Cup.
Well, you know, they're a tax haven, and I'm not suggesting anything, but
Yeah.
there's some very
It can
wealthy
be-
key people of some of the
Yeah.
other teams
Yeah.
that, you know, maybe, just maybe.
Yeah.
So should I put my money on Panama then? Is that what you're
Don't you
saying?
put your money anywhere, just keep it in your pocket. You need it for a haircut and beard trim. Is what you need every rupee you've got for anyway.
That's true. But another upgrade for the 2018 edition of the tournament is going to be the use of video assistant referees and
VAR.
VAR, and I think
Sounds
that's
like a
gonna be.
Star Wars baddie,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Wow. Yeah.
But tell me,
Take
how
him
do
to
you
the
think-
Death Star to meet VAR.
How do you think that's going to affect the World Cup? Because that'll change a lot of things. Do you think the human referees are having to take a salary cut? Do you think their morale is a little bit lower? Is technology going to take over the world? What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm a little worried.
Are we reliving the Matrix?
Well,
essentially.
well,
Basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, first of all, just remember you're talking to an Englishman here, right? 1986 and that cheetah Maradona, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you had VAR then?
Yeah.
2010, Lampard's
Yeah.
Ball off the
Yeah.
crossbar
Yeah,
over the
that's
line.
true. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
talking to an Englishman.
Yeah.
VAR, bring it on. All day, every day.
Love it.
You can have VAR every 5 minutes as far as I'm concerned. It's a great thing because nowadays it's too big. The game's too big. There's too much money involved. Years gone by, there's, you know, the stories come out quite often long after the event, corruption, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm all for VAR, and referees are human beings, or at least most of them are. Some of them are like weirdo robots, aren't they? Sometimes real strange characters, some of the referees, but they're human beings. The pressure is phenomenal. You're being watched by billions around the world. The stadium is electric. And there's one fundamental point that I need to bring out about referees, and that is they're not all equal.
Right.
You've got referees at the tournament who are used to, like Premier League referees, La Liga referees, who are used to managing Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool every week, yeah?
Right.
So they're used to that pressure. You've also got referees from certain lesser countries, let's call it that without being disrespectful, who are not used to, you know, the biggest game they referee is 5,000 in the stadium or 10,000 in the stadium.
Right.
So they're going to be influenced by that.
Fair. Fair.
That's a good
Absolutely.
point.
So I'm all for VAR.
Let's talk about the World Cup trophy. The trophy in itself, it's something that anyone who's watched football, regardless of which part of the world you're in, it's something that you can recognize. It's iconic. Every footballer dreams of holding it one day in his hands at the end of the World Cup.
By the way, there's a place, I live in Dubai, okay? There's a place in Dubai that sells a replica, and I tried to get one. So I was only
Interesting.
I was only in Dubai for one day, So I was in Bhutan last week. I flew back to Dubai. I was there for 1 day before coming over here. And I was desperately trying to get it in that 1 day. But they said, oh, yes, we've got an order, but it's not coming till tomorrow. And I was flying out the next day. So I was desperately trying to get this replica.
That's really interesting, because the point of my question and my proposal to you was I want to know if you'd help us get the trophy. Me.
The real one. The
real one, not the replica.
Can we pull an Ocean's 8?
I've seen the films. There was 10, there's 11, 12,
8 is coming up now. But yeah, I mean, they've done 11, 12, 13, so there's enough material for us to study.
Right, so I understand there's 2 trophies, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same trophies.
Right.
One sits at the headquarters of FIFA in Nyon.
Right.
In Switzerland, which I've been to, and I've actually seen the trophy in the cabinet, and it really is like something out of Ocean's 11 or whatever.
Right.
It is fully alarmed.
Right.
There's a guy stands over in the corner, you know, doesn't look at the trophy, just looks at you.
Oh.
You know, have you ever come through the customs part? So after immigration, you come through the customs, and you know, no matter how honest you are, or look, no matter that you've got no contraband in your baggage, you still feel guilty. It's like that walk of guilt, isn't it? Just for,
and I usually look like this.
you get stopped. You get stopped all the time, everywhere. You out. Come here now. We want to see your bags. So this guy looks at you in exactly the same way, and of course I had no intention of smashing the cabinet and taking the trophy, but for literally 30 seconds I felt, you know, that this guy was looking at me and saying, "You look shifty." And I was clean shaven, by the way, then, so I looked different.
But was there at least 1 second in your head where you're like, I can take this guy out and make a run for it?
Yeah.
It was there. Right? It was, right?
It's amazing you say that. I'm being serious. It's amazing you say that. You have a thought that goes through your head for literally, it was more than 1 second. It was maybe like, maybe I'm weird. It was maybe like a minute. And what I was doing, I was standing in the room and I was going, right, okay, there's a CCTV camera there, there's one there. This clearly is alarmed at the base of the glass. The door is over there, but the door is shut, but it's not locked because I've just come in it. So, and then, but there's another door at the out. You know, that whole process was going.
So you've done the scouting already, so it'll be simpler.
So it's easier.
For us.
It's easier.
I can see this at some point in the future being used in a court of law.
Which of the 2 trophies do you think will be simpler, and which one should we go for?
The one in Dubai.
The one in
It's definitely easier to get a hold of.
I think we can settle on that.
Defense is a very important aspect of the game.
Is it?
I would say so.
The art of defence seems to have evaporated over the last year. I mean, you look at the Champions League and the Premier League as well, which has always been considered very defensive. Over the last year in the Champions League, I think it's been the best Champions League season for a neutral in many, many years. Because there's no defending anymore. I could be a defender in some of these teams.
A team that has a really strong back four and a really good defense is Italy. So what do you think, how well do you think they'll do in the World Cup?
I can't keep a straight face.
They do have a great defense.
They do have a great defense.
They have good defense, they have a good keeper in the back, and
they had a good keeper. He's gone now, he's retired.
You know what? Where was I recently? Where someone actually thought that Italy were going to the World Cup. Where was it? Oh, I'll tell you where it was. So I'm hiking up this trail up to the Tiger's Nest in Bhutan.
Okay.
I've got a full sweat on, right? I'm breathing like this. And this guy is coming down the steps and he's like, Mr. Joe, you know, I see you on TV, blah, 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 can I get a photo? And I was like, and he's like, yeah, you know, we go like this. And I go, can I wake my head in here? You know, because obviously, so we're standing and by the time I'd caught my breath, I said to him, so who's your team for the World Cup? And he said, oh, Italy. He said, I think they're going to do really well. And I wasn't sure. I don't know if you've ever done really intensive exercise and you're a little bit lightheaded. You're not quite with it. I was actually questioning my own mind. So, because what I'd done is I'd taken my notes to Bhutan and I was like testing myself as I was doing all of these hikes, all the teams, the groups, all that kind of thing, just a little bit of preparation. And I'm Italy. Goodness me. Because the altitude I think was about 11,000 feet where we were, 10, 11,000 feet. And I'm thinking, Goodness me, what's wrong with you, Joe? You missed Italy. How could you miss Italy after the World Cup? I was questioning my own sanity.
But that's a true fan. That's a true Italy fan. Like, even if they're not in the World Cup, who's it?
They're in the
Italy.
World Cup. Yeah.
Italy. They're in the World Cup. For me, they're in there.
Yeah.
So,
In
just to
spirit.
clarify, I shouldn't be putting my money on Italy either.
I've told you what to do with your money, okay? Both
No,
myself
Saudi
and your
Arabia.
mother have the same opinion of what you need to do with your money. You need a trim.
Okay,
So we're gonna be doing a series of episodes for the World Cup, and we have about 6 or so episodes.
Cool. And by the way, great stuff, guys. I love what
Thank
you're
you.
doing.
Thank
you need
you.
to do more
Thank
of
you
it.
so much.
Thank
we
you.
need
And this
we
is-
need more football
This is right.
podcasts.
And we actually wanted to meet you because you've been doing this for a long time. We'll obviously be able to learn a lot more from you.
You'll learn nothing from me.
There's a few names
Yeah,
that are a little tricky for us, and we like to
Don't
teach
start
us
me.
how to-
Don't start me.
Please, because we have a few episodes coming
Yeah,
up.
we
and
need to-
We
we need to
we'd
be
like to know
sure.
how to pronounce his names properly, so that we're not.
Are these the hardest ones that you've picked out?
No,
Yeah.
just the ones that we weren't
yeah,
sure
we
about.
weren't sure about them. So the first one is.
Do I have to go in order? Do I?
Yeah,
I'll go with Harry Kane.
See, I told you it is Hurricane. It's not Kane.
Is that
It's
good?
Hurricane. We've been arguing about this one for a
Kane.
really long time, and
By the
and
way,
he's Maharashtrian.
Kane
they
is
have-
close to Canu.
Yeah,
He was a
Yeah.
player.
he was a good player.
He was an interesting player.
Okay, so Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
So
okay, I'll note that down.
I'm going to let you into a little broadcast secret here.
Okay.
And this is what I was taught at way back at the BBC many years ago. So, do you remember Sven-Goran Eriksson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there was always a big dispute about whether his name was Sven-Göran Eriksson or Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Right.
Now, the actual correct pronunciation is Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
But Sven-Goran Eriksson got picked up first, and all the commentators ran with it.
Okay.
He wasn't bothered either way. But
Right.
but if you go to Sweden, it's Sven-Göran.
Right.
So it ended up being Sven-Goran Eriksson. It stuck.
Wow.
And that's the strange thing about some of these names, that you can go to different parts of, like, say, the country that they're from, and there's a different
There's a different
pronunciation of
pronunciation.
exactly the same
Right.
name. So sometimes you just got to roll with it. Anyway, the BBC used to teach us that if you were in an absolute hole with regards to a name, pick out the bit that you can pronounce. So, for example, number 2,
Yeah.
Which
I would
is
just say Reza.
Ah,
That's
smart.
that's the cheat.
That's
okay.
smart.
So a little tip for you is to so just say Harry when it comes
yeah.
to
Stick to
I'll
Harry.
stick to Harry.
Stick to Harry.
I'll stick to Harry.
Come on, Blazakowski.
Yeah.
Savarison. Araseta. Is that right? Have you been practicing these, by the way?
We have no
we have no
idea.
idea. No.
We're recording this, and then we're going to hear
Yeah.
you say it over and
Over
over
and-
again
yeah.
and try and mug up the
Yeah.
name.
Don't. He
What we
also-
might just do is every time we need to refer to the name, we'll just cut to you saying it
Yeah.
and then go
Yeah.
back to the conversation.
Eolfsson.
Might be simpler.
And as far as the second one is concerned, I can't read your handwriting. That's my get out.
Wait, that's him. That's not even my
that's on
handwriting.
me.
This
That's
one's
on
not
me.
my handwriting.
That's on
Well
me.
done, Joe.
That's on me. That's on me.
Like you were saying, you're an Englishman. You've had a lot of bad tournaments in the past. What are your hopes this season?
This season.
This World Cup.
This World Cup, I hope that they go further than everyone expects, I think is probably the number one. Look, England's not going to win it, but from my colleagues back in the UK, before they got on the plane to go to Russia, everyone is talking about a very, very different attitude and very different spirit
Right.
in the England team to
Right.
any other tournament before.
Right.
And why is that important? Because one of the things I mentioned at the beginning is momentum, team spirit can
Yeah.
carry you way further, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's just this kind of buzz and feeling, and Gareth Southgate, I think, recognises that.
Right.
He recognises that, you're talking about defence, he recognises the defence is meh,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he's going for a 3-5-2 formation,
Yeah.
certainly from what we've seen in the friendlies.
Yeah.
So why play to your weaknesses, play to your strengths,
Play
go
to
out
your
there and
strengths,
score
yeah.
goals.
And-
Will England win it? No. But I think England could decide who does win it. I can see England getting to like a quarterfinals and
Right.
knocking out a team that is one of the favourites and should clearly beat them. That's what I can see England do it, and then getting knocked out.
How far do you think they'll get, and who do you think is the main hope, the main player that Indian
Quarterfinals, and obviously goal scorer Harry Kane if he can keep scoring. And the thing I like about Harry Kane is he's got that poacher element.
Yeah.
to him,
He
you know.
does. He does.
You go and look at some of his goals throughout the
He
season.
can
You
score
know,
from anywhere.
side of the leg
Yeah.
and just a toe poke,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know. And they've got pace as well.
Yeah.
They've
I
got
think,
great pace.
with Kane though, I think Sterling's going to be a game changer for England.
Well, he's got pace, hasn't he? And
Yes.
I think Dele Alli could be more important.
I think
to
the,
England.
the
Look, put it this way.
partnership between Ali and Kane might
Might
be
work,
really
but-
important.
Put it this way, you need more than one goal scorer to win a tournament.
True,
You've
true.
got to have goals from other places as well. You can't rely on one goal scorer. So where are those goals going to come from? That's the question.
Yeah.
And,
As-
and it's only going to be Raheem Sterling, Dele Alli. It's not going to be Jordan Henderson. God's sake.
Hendo!
Everyone knows I'm a Newcastle United fan.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I
think Shelby should have
and I
gone-
hate Sunderland. And you know, even though I wanted as an Englishman Liverpool to do well and to win the Champions League, plus I didn't want Real Madrid to win 3 in a row. It was boring for the competition.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. The nights before the game, I couldn't visualise Jordan bloody Henderson lifting the Champions League trophy. I'm like, seriously? It was going through my mind like, seriously? Jordan Henderson could lift the Champions League trophy. Of all the fabulous midfielders we've had in England, and Jordan Henderson could be the one. Anyway, relief. Breathe, Joe, breathe.
But England are in the pool with Belgium. Belgium, I think, has got a really exciting squad and
Yeah.
some.
But
really
again,
nice players.
some of the parts.
Exactly.
Like a Holland. Belgium reminds me a little bit of Holland, you know.
It
Some
does,
of
yeah.
the-
It does,
Very,
it
very,
does.
very true.
They
Very
should have
close.
been,
They-
you know, they were a little bit like.
They're very shaky, yeah. They can implode, and I honestly see Belgium going to quarters tops.
Because the talent in that side.
Exactly,
wow.
exactly. But
terms
you're
of-
right, they're very close to Holland in the sense that both these teams just happen to implode at a certain crucial
Yeah.
point in the tournament.
And I don't think that's for any other reason other than team spirit. And when people are talking about, you know, everyone's saying like, oh, how can Roberto Martinez leave out Nangolan,
Yeah.
for example, you know?
Yeah.
Leroy Sané with
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
I don't know the characters and personalities of these players, but sometimes you have to look at it and go, are they a good mixer?
Right.
I was with Steve Harmison actually here in the Westin a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about, who was the player? I think it was Paul Collingwood actually. He said there was a player in the England team, Paul Collingwood, I think it was, and he said he was always in every tour squad because he was a great mixer. He was one of those that
Nice.
glued all of
You
the
need that.
characters, and
Yeah.
you need that.
Definitely.
So I think there's a lot of managers saying, look, this player, unless he's going to win this game on his own for us,
Right.
we can afford to leave him behind because he's a little bit antagonistic in the
Right.
side.
Fair.
I was at Newcastle United with Craig Bellamy, and he was exactly like that. He was a little shit. You know? He was an annoying little twat is probably the best way I can describe it.
Looks
You
like
know?
one. So
Yeah, so he was therefore not conducive because he obviously had young players in a squad who are still feeling their way into all of these superstars. Plus, you have the senior players as well, and you know you need that glue, you need that mixer. He was a great player, by the way, Craig Bellamy.
He was, yeah.
Better than he got credit for.
But so do you think England will top the group, or what? The
Yes.
Belgium-England game
Yes.
for me is important.
Yes.
England will top the group.
Yes.
So England
Yes.
first, Belgium second.
Yes, yes.
He's very confident about
Very
that.
confident.
Yeah. So, do you think you want to put your money on England going up first? in the
Do
group?
I think he's made it very clear I should keep my money in the pocket?
Should
he
I-
knows what he's talking about. I'm just going to
Cool.
listen to what he says.
I'm looking at your shoes and your jeans as well. I think you know could be a bit of investment required there also with your
Luckily, they can't see it.
with your hard-earned cash.
Yeah. But what's your African nation pick for this World Cup? Which team do you think is going to be the surprising package?
I would. You know what? My opinion just changed a few days ago.
Okay.
After seeing one of Tunisia's friendlies,
All right.
they I think could upset a few people. Tunisia.
Wow.
They've
And
got
they-
pace and they have quite a bit of guile. They surprised me. They surprised me.
And that's interesting because they're in the group with Belgium and England.
Correct. Correct.
So now we could essentially see Group G becoming the group of death.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's not the group of death. I would still say Group H is my group of death.
Yeah.
You know, Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and
True.
Japan.
True. All four of them can go through.
Yeah,
That's
all,
true.
yeah.
And which team do you think overall will be the dark horse and exceed everyone's expectations?
I mean, I've mentioned Tunisia already. Poland.
Yeah.
Poland, I think, could do some serious damage.
With Jakub Blasjizkov.
Just stick to the simple part.
Jakub.
We've learned now.
Jakub.
Yes.
With Jakub.
Jakub.
With him.
With Jakub.
Yeah.
Poland, I think, could surprise a few people.
And a disappointment? And which team will be a disappointment? Like last time?
England.
Spain.
England.
Spain.
No, I
Again.
think England will get to round of 16 quarters for sure.
England again will be a disappointment.
All right, I think we've spent a lot of time with you. And before we go, one final serious, obvious question. Your pick for the World Cup.
As the winner,
Yeah. Top 4 and winner. So semis and winner.
oh, the top 4 teams for the World Cup. So the top 4 teams that will finish the competition: France, Brazil, Germany. I'm tempted to put England in there. I'm tempted to put England in there. I'm so tempted to put England in there. England.
All right.
All right.
So
France.
I'm stating here, for the record, I am stating England go to the semi-finals
All right.
of the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia.
And who wins?
Please don't put your house on that. Or your
That's
car,
for you. That's for
or
you.
your sister, or your daughter, or your uncle, or your mother, or your father. Please don't go and auction them for taking my Final 4 picks. And then to win it, oh, come on, I can't. I can't. I've got to stay neutral. I've got to stay neutral. I've got to stay neutral. I'll tell you, I'll give you
I'm
my...
realistic, I think.
I'll give you my opinion after the World Cup's over.
I think you can, if you have a pen, you can just write it down. And
We'll
see
reveal
and
it
we'll
after the
react.
World Cup.
And
Okay.
we'll just react.
Have you got a
We have
pen?
a pen?
Have you got a pen?
Yeah.
Have a pen?
I'll write it on
There
this.
we go.
I'll write it on this piece of paper.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see this.
Right. This is only for your eyes.
All right.
That's
Okay.
it. I know where I'm putting my money now. Finally, I know where I'm putting my
Only
money.
for your eyes.
Oh wow, that's it.
That's a good prediction.
That's a great prediction. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Pleasure's
much.
been all mine.
It's been
Thank you
mine.
so much for seeing us, for meeting us at such short notice. Ladies and gentlemen, the erstwhile frontman of the Doors, Jim Morrison.
He was a great. He was my uncle, you know.
He was.
You see the shock?
right?
Did you
was,
see
right?
the shock? Did you see the shock?
we
in your
were talking
faces?
about it.
We were talking about
Yeah.
it. We were talking about it. Anyway.
Hey, that's a fine, by the way. That is definitely a penalty. That is definitely a penalty.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
for seeing
Pleasure,
us.
gentlemen.
Thank you so
It's all a
much.
pleasure.
And there we have it. That was our conversation with Joe Morrison. What an insightful guy, right?
Very insightful guy. I'm still not sure where I should put my money.
I think you should not put your money on any team because gambling is a slippery slope. Don't do it, kids. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. No.
All right, but that was a great conversation with Joe Morrison, and we will be back at the end of the group stages with more expert analysis from the two of us, and we'll see you then. Please like, share, subscribe this video, and tell everyone you know to like, share, subscribe this video,
Yeah.
and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much for watching.